of my fears, luckily I've only
Yep.
been fired once, is getting fired.
Oh, that's a
Yeah.
fear? Oh, it gets easier the more times it happens.
I think
No,
there's
it makes me. I don't know if it's because of my Nigerian household I've been, but I've always been brought up like to work hard, and me getting fired like feels like a failure. I remember the first time getting fired, I felt like crying and calling my mum up, and he was like, "Why'd you get fired?" And I'm like, "Oh, because of this and because of that." And I didn't realize at the time. Well, it probably I figured it out now is because I'm wearing glasses. I'm cross-eyed. I don't and I think that's part of my autism because I watch a documentary on why some people have double vision, and you naturally do not have good hand and eye coordination, but majority of people, due to human adaptation, learn how to correct it. But because of the way my mind works, and I've realized a lot of people on the spectrum have terrible hand and eye coordination. I have double vision, and I wasn't prescribed my prescription until I was 19.
Okay.
My first job as an assistant chef, I struggled cutting things close up because I'm seeing two at the same time. And I don't want to chop my fingers off.
Right. So you had to go a lot slower, right?
Yeah. The food industry, it has to be quick. People want the food now.
Well, I will say this much. Like you said, you felt like crying when you got fired that first time. I avoided telling my mother for almost a year the first time I got fired because I was
living with her at
that
the time.
scared. I was so scared to tell anybody I got fired because I felt the same way you did about working hard. You got to work hard. You got to keep a job. You got to be accepted and all that. After it happened,
you don't want to be a bum.
Yeah, you don't want to be a bum, and there's the whole like being masculine and all that shit, and
something wrong with
for
you,
people and all that bullshit. Yeah. It wasn't until like 3 or 4 times that it happened, and it wasn't until I started to say no, I'm not like other people, and at that point I still didn't have a diagnosis, but I started to accept the fact, and I started to come to terms with the fact that I ain't like other people.
So I don't know what it's like to grow up with a diagnosis the way that Jamal did, but I'd say on the other side of it, I think there's pros and cons for both. But one of the downsides from not knowing is I had a lot of really horrible relationships with friendships and like girls that I dated or tried to date